Another day, another chance, another way, another day. Today we're discussing to you all about, pretty much Firebase ToDo App that we're working on. So yeah, it's just a Firebase ToDo App. So let's get to this. Let's go. Usually, my navigator is Ernest Akelem, you know. So yeah, let's use my navigator. That's pretty much, the guy that I do navigation work with, So yeah, pretty much, I'll pretty much do another video, where we actually puts like more input. We actually puts like input into the video. So yeah, that's gonna be the case. Otherwise, for now, I'll just pretty much be the dominant driver here. So yeah, let's get to this and let's go, man. So what we have here is Firebase To Do app. So what this app pretty much does is it pretty much has a to do app where you got to do elements and then you're gonna have to like sign in first in order for you to access your database and to do apps so on and so forth. So you got your user profile, save.ps1, serve.cmd, Firebase at ps1, Firebase at cmd, favicon. And then what you have is source code, man. So your source code here is pretty much your login. So this is pretty much your variable handle login sync. So everything is gonna work in a synchronous order. So one thing's gonna be working whilst the other's gonna be. So one thing is gonna be loading. It's gonna set, whereas you'll be able to work on another. So you got the promise with the void. So you got your await signing with pop up authorized Google provider set error, redirect other Google login, and then navigate catch error. Cause that error Google login error. Set error dot message, then return div styles container, then login. Then you gotta form on submit handle login styles, so on and so forth, man. So type email, placeholder email, value email, unchange, autocomplete, username, required style, so on and so forth. Then you got the input with placeholder value, unchanged, autocomplete, current password, then required styles, so on and so forth. That's pretty much what you have here, man. Right, so yeah, this is pretty much, this hides the typed characters. So adjust path if needed, login, email password login. So can't handle login. So this redirects to the main page of the login. So navigate, comma. So that's for pretty much for like your URL. So as you can see here, your URL. Then you got your Google login, handle Google login, then redirect of the Google login, and then got your password input field. Come on. Then hide the typed character text shown when input is empty. Control input value from state. Update password state I'm typing. Helps browsers autofill state passwords. Prevents from submission if empty. Apply online input styling. And then submit button for the login form. And then you got your Google sign in button. Triggers Google authorized login. Display error message only if an error exists. Then inline styles objects. There's just pretty much your CSS. The Firebase login. So these are pretty much your details for your login. Yeah. So this is pretty much your import Firebase core function to initialize the app. Right. So import initialize from Firebase app, then import Firebase authentication services. So import get auth Google auth provider from Firebase auth. Import Firestore database service. Import get Firestore from Firebase Firestore. Firebase project configuration. These values uniquely identify and connect your app to Firebase. Hit config. So this public API key for Firebase auth domain for Firebase authentication. Firebase project ID, cloud storage bucket, sender ID for Firebase cloud messaging, unique ad identifier, Google Analytics measurement ID. Initialize Firebase app using the configuration above. Initialize Firebase authentication and import it for use in the app. Create and export Google authentication provider used for sign with Google. Export Firestore database instance. These are pretty much exports and configurations of the stuff that we are dealing with for your configuration for our Firebase or API key, authorized domain, project ID, search bucket, messaging, sender ID, app ID, measurement ID, yada yada yada. Okay, okay. So that's pretty much what you're dealing with. And then, here we got is our app. So these are our routes towards different aspects of our app. So apps responsible for taking our components and adding them and pretty much hooking them to our main app. So like these are pretty much responsible for our URLs, so on and so forth. So you got imports, browser auth, sign out, sign in, authorized to view page, projects, profile protected, route add to do, const try await catch, return router, routes, so on and so forth, simple styles, const styles, nav, link, log out, and then export our app, so on and so forth. Then you gotta add to do app. So this pretty much exports const styles, authorize.js. Then you got a switch case for different errors. Yeah, Ernest might go over the rest, when I do another video with him. So obviously add to do, so yeah, it's pretty much what you're dealing with here, man. So this is pretty much your return router for your profile projects, your ampersand, your routes, then your pretty much your style. So your routes for auth profile with protected routes. So this protects the routes element, protected routes, welcome to do page protected routes, so on and so forth. So that's pretty much what it is, man. And then to do page, imports, export defaults, use effect, equal to or greater than if user ID returns, const q equals query select collection db uses user ID to do's order by created add, so on and so forth, unsubscribe, on snapshot. So this is pretty much like your to do page. Then protected routes. So if you don't have a user, then you're going to return navigate to auth replace, then return the children case. Then function protected routes. Then you got your projects. Right, so on and so forth. And then yeah, you got your export default function projects, const variables, projects, set projects, use state, then const name, set name, use state, constant user ID, auth, or current user dot your ID, so on and so forth. And then use effect. And if else statement, so if you don't have a user ID, you're gonna return projects ref collection db users, user ID projects, unsubscribe, on snapshot projects ref and snapshot, and then set projects, so on and so forth. Then you got return, unsubscribe, cause add projects. If we don't have a name that trim, then we're gonna return add doc, handle delete, handle edit, returns, div styles, use your project, so on and so forth. Add projects, value unchange placeholder, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And then yeah, editable text, handle blur, not should equal operated to text, so on and so forth. And then const styles, container, form input, button, list item, delete button, so on and so forth. I mean, project email UID. If you don't have a user, please sign in, and then add to do.js, to do page auth, then to do page. Then yeah, that's pretty much what we're dealing with here. And then yeah, you got a Firebase. That I'm gonna go over just now. So sign in with Google. He thinks, and yeah, signed in. As you can see here, we got our to dos in our projects. So to do study, just add add study, add and then your projects below create, then here you go. So that's pretty much you got two. Then what you're gonna do here is projects profiles, but profile lini385 at gmail.com. Here's my UID. So it's auto generated PBCNG GUNVUBDHR5RAFWP 5CGWY1, so on and so forth, just like logistics and stuff. So that's my ID there, auto generated, and then yeah. So yeah. So go into my project, my Firebase to do app, you know what I mean? Then sign in method templates, um, passwords, so on and so forth. Then go to our real time database. Then you go to your Firebase database, Firestore database. And then you got your to-dos app. So as you can see here, the collections that I had on my Firebase to-do app, they pretty much get processed here. So book, it's actually my history, study, that, and then here's my field. That's pretty much what we're dealing with here. Right, so that's what we have, and then false creator, text, study, and then UID, so on and so forth, man. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with, and then yeah, the project name Kabelu. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to over, and then just show you that I was able to deploy my app. I'll go to my I'll go to my portfolio, which I've got Lini, Firebase, and then my to-do app. As you can see, I'm at my to-do app, and then sign in to Google. This domain is not authorized in Firebase auth. So as you can see, I have to sign in first, but it has been authorized. Whereas, you know, then yeah, okay, go to home. Then yeah, favicon.ico app API dot mm, favicon.ico, then favicon alt.ico, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Then iframe.js, and so on and so forth. So on and so forth. So that's pretty much my debug and how many milliseconds it takes, man. So that's my debug. Cross origin opener, this and that, yada yada yada. Yeah, my network, your milliseconds. That's pretty much what we're dealing with here. And then debug our portfolio, our portfolio, our portfolio. Okay. And then took 4,000 milliseconds, 8,000 milliseconds. Then this is everything that you debugging here. So let's go down to my Firebase ToDo App. And yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing, dealing with. So yeah, I mean, other than that, thank you very much for being very attentive and being very patient with me. And hold on, before I finish off, here's my Firebase at JSON hosting public, and then ignore, rights, source destination. Emily's authorized port Firestore port 8080, port 5000, then 4000, then single projects true, then Firebase CRC projects default, Firebase to do B7 6 B76 F4, and then package.json, then Firebase 0.010, script start build test eject emulators, so on and so forth. Then yeah, package.json, name version, so on and so forth. And then yeah, and then that's where you pretty much store the modules. And then Firebase.json. And then export default define, config plugins base plugins React base, import define config from Vite, import React, Vite.js, set up test.js and report web vitals.js, and then so on and so forth. And then that's it, index.css, app.css. Then yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we're dealing with here. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much what we're dealing with, man. Thank you very much. Take care, bless, and yeah, thanks. See you. And next time, hopefully Ernest or Aiden on my navigates for my next video when we go over this again, it's gonna help me, man. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care. Thanks.